Happy Friday, everyone. We've made it through another week here on Morning Jox. Appreciate you tuning us in this morning. Conrad Van Order, Damian Mitchell here with you for a bit this morning. We'll just say that. We'll be with you for a bit this morning. But hope everyone, know a lot of you probably had yesterday off. Kind of maybe you took an extended weekend, so a lot of you enjoying a 4-day weekend. I know some of you, like us, you worked yesterday, so this is just another normal Friday for you, but we have that, and Damian is wearing an Alabama shirt.
Roll Tide. You're wearing an Alabama hat.
Yes,
Wait.
I am.
Yeah. We're big Alabama fans.
Okay, so we're doing that today.
Are we not?
No,
They're in my top 10.
Yep, they are in your top 10. Well, they're in my top 1, so I'm just giving you a hard time, yeah. But
I'm
Damian,
doing it for Deacon, man.
yeah, well, I don't know if, when you wear those kinds of things, it gets people's hopes up, though. I just want you to know the platform that you're on and when
Understandable.
and what you're going through specifically right now. And when you wear something like that, people are going, he made a decision, and you haven't, right?
No, not yet.
No,
okay. I like the NIL packages and some of the recruiting stuff that the schools have given me and some of the fans have given me. So I make sure I represent.
That's right.
It's the old
you're keeping everybody
picture.
interested, and so they're throwing a little something your way, so that
You never know.
Yeah,
it's great marketing.
Yeah, you're just dragging them all along right now, right?
I wouldn't say that. I'd say I keep my options open.
Okay. You have any an update for us later on anything with your fandom? Have you been swayed at all this week?
Nah, man. Just the typical. A couple people checking in, just asking me, how I'm doing. From certain fan bases, kind of just reaching out and just getting a lay of the land, just trying to see. They're not trying to sway me or anything. They're just genuinely checking up on my well-being, which is awesome.
Okay, well it's nice of them.
We have some great fans around here, man.
We absolutely do. You're wearing one of them right now, but it's okay. They're in your top 10. They're under consideration. I understand. You've got a process, and you have to go about that process. So, I just don't want an Alabama fan to turn on our YouTube stream today and go, man, I can't believe it. I'm so excited for Damian to be an Auburn fan. They call into the show, and they're talking to you about, all right, we got to get you down to Tuscaloosa this year. We got to get you. Do you like a yellow hammer? What's your game day drink of choice, Damian? We got to get everything set up for you, and you're just going to give somebody the wrong impression. We don't want that on this.
I never took it into that consideration, Conrad.
It goes deep. It runs deep.
I see.
It runs.
So
deep.
Should I just only wear teams that I've already eliminated then?
Because I think you should only wear Texas A&M gear.
That would actually take some money. But the crazy thing is, because we got gear sent to us from a Texas A&M alum, and still hadn't broke it out yet, but maybe I can move my pride to the side just at least for one day.
Mm-hmm.
That's easier said than done.
Well, you have to wear it on April Fool's Day.
Right.
Just save it for that next year.
Yes.
That might be a good time.
I will get as much Texas A&M gear and rock it for April Fool's.
Perfect. All right, so April 1st, tune in next year to see Damian in Texas A&M gear. All right, we have a good bit of stuff to get to today. Of course, we also have the College World Series going on this weekend, so want to dive into that a little bit, as well as what you may have missed from last night. And we'll continue with our make or break games in the SEC. We've got a new batch of teams today, and since we're going to be hanging around for a little bit, I threw a couple more in there, so maybe we'll have time to get to all of those, but y'all have been really, really great about chiming in with your thoughts on those, and we've had some good conversations about the upcoming season, so we'll keep it rolling that way. But quickly, if you missed any of this last night, we did have Game 6 of the NBA Finals, and so this was not a very particularly exciting game last night. It was a 108-91 victory for the Indiana Pacers. And that comes with the caveat that Oklahoma City outscored Indiana by 13 in the fourth quarter. So they were outscored by 13 in the fourth quarter and still won by nearly 20 points. So that just kind of lets you know that it was Indiana's night all the way last night there, as they were at home for Game 6, win or be eliminated situation. And you had Tyrese Halliburton, who we weren't sure if he was going to be able to play or not, but he ends up being available. He plays 23 minutes last night, so fortunately didn't have to go for an extended period, but he had 14 points, 5 assists, and 1 rebound last night. You had Pascal Siakam. He gives you 16 points. Andrew Nembhard gives you 17 points. Obi Toppin gives you 20. So again, par for the course for Indiana, where everyone has to do their job, and they absolutely did last night. But for Oklahoma City, Shea only has 21 points. Jalen Williams was 16, a little bit different than the other night when they combined for over 70. And Oklahoma City just the first couple minutes of the game, Indiana couldn't hit a shot to save their lives, and you thought, okay, maybe the magic's gone. It is what it is. Oklahoma City, they've been the best team all year. They're just going to win. But credit to Indiana, they figured it out, and it was a really, really rough night for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Only shot 26% from 3, and now they find themselves going back home to Oklahoma City on Sunday for a Game 7, which, look, I don't care what you think about any sport. If there's a Game 7, I'm going to watch it. And so that's what you're going to get on Sunday between the Indiana Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I saw this stat yesterday, and I think, for anybody out there that's, you haven't watched any basketball this year and you're like, man, I just never would have thought the Indiana Pacers would be in Game 7 of the NBA Finals against the Oklahoma City Thunder. So last night, the Pacers became the first team to ever have 8 individual players, all score 200 or more points in one postseason. So again, just goes to show you it takes a village for this Indiana Pacers team to go, and that has worked out very, very well for them this postseason. So it's been a fun run for them, Damian. I was glad to see they could get it to Game 7. I love Game 7s. I think we all do. And hopefully we have an all-timer on Sunday. We'll see.
Yeah, and I think last night you kind of saw just how complete this Indiana Pacer team is, and whether Tyrese Halliburton was playing or not. When you got, Obi Toppin coming off the bench giving you 20, when you got TJ McConnell literally just all over the floor, like on both ends, making it hard defensively for Oklahoma City to make a shot, and then offensively just in clutch moments and just big time moments, he stepped up. And I think that for Indiana, you felt that desperation of they can go out here and lay down. If Tyrese Halliburton's not at 100%, they could say, you know what, we weren't there mentally and physically. We were kind of handicapped by Halliburton's injury. But they played like it was a Game 7. Like they played like this was the final game that they were probably going to be they were going to be playing. And I think just OKC offensively, they couldn't find any sort of rhythm. When Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's out here turning the ball over almost 10 times, I think the suffocating defense for Indiana, they play with a sense of desperation. And the biggest thing now is it has to travel. You have to play pretty much similarly like this or exactly like this to pull off a Game 7 because this is it. Like the NBA Finals, the NBA champion, like the championship comes down to a Game 7. Everything that you have, you leave it out there on the floor because there is not another game to get ready for. It's now or never.
Absolutely. So, the NBA Finals, maybe at least on paper, the least exciting finals that we thought we were going to get. It goes to 7 games. And, it was a blowout last night, but generally speaking, the series has been very entertaining if you have been watching along the way. But Game 7 of the NBA Finals on Sunday night. And I know for a lot of you, you're just happy because that means that the NBA season is over and you don't have to hear about anything until about October. So that's what went on last night. And how about those Atlanta Braves? Don't look now, but they're giving you hope. If you're a Braves fan, they are certainly giving you hope because how about the sweep of the first place New York Mets?
There we go.
Can't think of a better time for the Atlanta Braves to pick up a sweep here as they take their 3rd game in a row against the New York Mets, 7-1 last night. Spencer Strider, by far his best outing this year since coming back from his injury. He goes 6 innings, only gives up 1 run, strikes out 8, gives up 5 hits, 1 walk as well. So his season ERA now has been lowered to 3.89. So that is the Spencer Strider that Atlanta Braves fans know, love, and expect to see every 5th day. So very good to see from him. The bullpen comes in. They do their job. They don't give up any runs. Clay Holmes on the other side for the Mets. He goes 4 2/3. Gave up 3 runs, 6 walks. 6 walks. I do not miss him. He was on the Yankees the last couple years. He was incredibly frustrating. He actually has been pretty good for the Mets this year. But yeah, 6 walks. That's certainly going to be a tough one for you to overcome if you are the Mets. But you scored a couple of runs off of walks in the 5th inning if you're the Braves. If Drake Baldwin and Ozzie Albies both walked in runs. You had Matt Olson, who gave you an RBI double. Drake Baldwin had another RBI single later on in the game. So, again, an all-around effort from the Atlanta Braves yesterday as they complete the sweep, and they now move to 34-39 on the season. So, I'm sure a lot of you out there still, let's get to 500, and then we can start to, maybe have a conversation about this season being turned around, but you're certainly headed in that direction. And the good news, if you are a Braves fan, is that you now get to go on the road, which maybe that's not the good news, but you get to go on the road to play the Marlins, who are not very good. So that is a good opportunity for Atlanta. If they could pick up another sweep, obviously that would be ideal, but an opportunity for Atlanta to continue with some of this momentum and hopefully pick up a couple more games in the standings. Because right now you are 10 games back still of the New York Mets in the division. But for a wild card standpoint, you are 5.5 games back. And that's really the number that I think you're going to be chasing if you're an Atlanta Braves fan this summer. So hopefully a sign of things to come for Atlanta. But they will take on the Marlins on the road tonight. First pitch there is going to be 6:10 from Miami as the Braves look to continue their hot streak. Also, quickly, I don't know if you saw this last night, Damian, but there was a little bit of a brawl last night between the San Diego Padres and the LA Dodgers. So there was so in the game, Fernando Tatis, he gets plunked by the Dodgers pitchers. Everyone gets fired up. It was about to get ugly. But Fernando Tatis, he got plunked. He took exception to it. This has kind of been a thing that's going back and forth between the Padres and the Dodgers for a while now. So naturally, the Padres then retaliate. And if you're playing the Dodgers and you're going to retaliate, who are you going to hit, Damian? You're going to hit Mr. Ohtani. And that's exactly what they did. 100-mile-per-hour fastball right off the right shoulder. I mean, not going to hurt you like long term, but
it's uncomfortable.
That's not going to feel good in the moment there. So yeah, things got a little heated there yesterday. You certainly had some fireworks there between the Dodgers and the Padres. If you haven't seen it, just go on social media and check out the video. It's definitely entertaining, but they don't like each other. Safe to say.
No, they don't.
Not a big.
It's been a rough. I think with the Heat, you kind of see it in the other sports. You got baseball having a little bit of an issue, a little bit of a scuffle. Saw it in the WNBA this week.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Sophie Cunningham. I didn't know
the
she
enforcer.
was built like that.
Mm-hmm. That's Indiana knew what they were doing in free agency, man. They knew exactly what they were doing in free agency. But yeah, so last night you had that was the 5th time that Fernando Tatis has been hit by a Dodgers pitcher since the start of last season. So maybe there's a little bit of a trend. It is also the 3rd time that he has been hit by a Dodgers pitcher in the last week and a half. So you could maybe see where that would happen. But this has happened earlier as well, where you had a situation where Tatis got plunked and then they retaliated by hitting Ohtani. And so this was the 2nd time that situation had now occurred and the 3rd time that Tatis had gotten hit. So yeah, you can see where things maybe got a little bit out of hand there. But that's what's going on around the world of Major League Baseball. But, we actually have some college football news to discuss, one of which, the Elite 11 camp. So some quarterback commits to teams here in the state were competing, and we will tell you how they fared at the Elite 11 camp next on Morning Jox. 619, welcome into Morning Jocks here. Conrad and Damian with you until 7 o'clock and potentially beyond. So we just broke down everything you may have missed overnight with the Braves sweep of the New York Mets. They now travel to take on the Marlins. You're going to get a 6:10 first pitch tonight. You can hear it right here on Jox 94.5. Something else going on yesterday in the world of college football. Well, it's really been going on the last few days, and that is the Elite 11 camp. So as we're getting closer to decision day for a lot of these commits for both Alabama and Auburn, a lot of these recruiting targets, thought it'd be interesting to go down and let's see. Hey, there's a lot of guys from the SEC at the Elite 11 camp. Let's see how they have fared over the week. So yesterday you did have the conclusion of the Elite 11 camp, and so the MVP for this year was an SEC quarterback commit. It is the first quarterback in this school's history to ever win the MVP of the Elite 11 camp, and that would be Dia Bell, who is committed to Texas.
Okay.
So Texas has their first Elite 11 MVP.
You know who his dad is, don't you?
Who?
Rajah Bell.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's not surprising. Okay, that's awesome. Yeah. But yeah, he's a 5-star kid. He's committed to Texas, and he is your Elite 11 MVP. And right behind him, how about this? I'm gonna mispronounce this guy's name, I'm sure. Helaman Kasuga, Texas A&M. So the state of Texas.
Okay.
Looky here. You also have the Houston quarterback commit, Keyshawn Henderson. He's a 5-star. He's supposed to be really good. He is committed to Houston. He came in, or he was ranked as the 6th best player at the Elite 11 camp. So the state of Texas quarterback position seems to be in good hands here for the immediate future. But how about the rest of the SEC? So you have Faison Brandon, who by a lot of cases is listed as the number 1 quarterback in the next year's class. He is committed to Tennessee. He was ranked as the 5th best performer of the weekend there at the Elite 11 camp. How about Bryson Beaver? That's a name you may be like, oh, I feel like that's familiar. Well, that's a kid that Alabama offered last weekend, and he is a 4-star quarterback. He was rated as the 3rd best performer. So you got a little bit of an SEC flair there with some of these Elite 11 kids. But how about the guys that Alabama and Auburn are hoping will be a part of their 2026 draft class? So that would be Landon Duckworth, if you're an Auburn Tiger fan, and that would be Jet Tamala, who gave a verbal commitment to Alabama earlier this week. So Jet Tamala, he was ranked by On3 Sports as the 10th best quarterback at the Elite 11 camp. If you go and you look at his stats for the 7-on-7 portion of the Elite 11 camp, Tamala finished 14 of 21. He had 4 touchdowns and threw an interception. So overall, I mean, a pretty solid performance there, and a guy that I think we all kind of expect, whether you want to just call it the Bama bump or something else, is probably going to get a little more attention now that he is an Alabama commit, and no offense, not an Iowa State commit. Let's just, be honest there. So he has a pretty good week there, Mr. Tamala does. And then Landon Duckworth, so he was not ranked as one of the top 11 performers of the weekend, but still he went 12 of 23, had 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions during the 7-on-7 portion of the Elite 11 camp. So, some good impressions. I saw good videos of both of them at times making, really sharp throws. At other times you can tell, there's still some development to be done there. But still, Jet Tamala and Landon Duckworth. Landon Duckworth we're still waiting on. That's the kid that's deciding between Auburn and South Carolina, which I know that has some people rolling their eyeballs. But hey, kids like Shane Beamer, right?
They do.
Yeah, he's got the juice. He's got that energy to him. So we'll see what happens there with Duckworth. But Jet Tamala already announcing his commitment to Alabama, had a fairly solid week out there. But again, Dia Bell, the Texas quarterback commit, 5-star kid, he is your Elite 11 MVP for this year. We also have a little bit of recruiting news that we can share with you. So a couple of these guys were Alabama football targets, but they will now not be playing in Tuscaloosa. Well, at least for another year, because, they're probably going to transfer and get, disgruntled somewhere like most of these kids do these days. But you had 5-star safety Jet Washington. He had been deciding between Oregon, Alabama, and USC. and he ultimately lands with the Oregon Ducks. So that is where he is going to go. Bama is kind of battling with Georgia right now for Jaira Edwards, another 5-star safety. So maybe some optimism there if you're an Alabama fan that you lost one, but you're still in the running for another guy. But how about this with Jet Washington? You want to guess who his uncle was?
It's not Denzel, is
It's
it?
really unfortunate. No. Yeah, the last name would throw you off. It don't have the same last name.
Oh, okay.
He's an athlete. Well, unfortunately, was an athlete.
Dwayne Haskins.
Kobe.
Dang.
Yeah. So, but that's pretty cool. I mean,
Yeah, that is dope.
That's pretty cool. You're Kobe Bryant's nephew. But yeah, that's Jet Washington. He picks Oregon over Alabama and USC. And then you had Brandon Arrington, who's a 5-star cornerback. Some places have him listed as an athlete. But anyways, he had been in Alabama this past weekend when they were having their one of their big recruiting weekends. But he chooses Oregon over Texas A&M. So Alabama wasn't really in the mix there at the end. But he chooses Texas A&M over Oregon. So a big day there for both Oregon and Texas A&M as they both pick up some 5-stars there in the secondary.
So are you saying that Alabama's struggling in recruiting right now? Is that the narrative that you're pushing?
No, I think they're still doing quite fine.
Oh, I got you. I mean, you were worried last week.
I was not.
Oh, that wasn't you.
No, that was not. That was not me. But it's like, okay. I mean, the Arrington kid would. I mean, again, these both would have been good kids to have, but
right.
You're trending towards one 5-star safety and Jaira Edwards, so you kind of went a different direction there, and you've already signed Edmonds, who's a 5-star cornerback, so you kind of gotten these things taken care of. Again, the more the merrier, but
you ain't lost no hope.
You tell me, Mr. Alabama.
No, not at all. Not at all. I think their recruiting process is absolutely phenomenal right now.
Mm-hmm.
They're just heating up.
You like that they're getting quarterbacks out of the state of Nebraska?
I mean, we're just going after the best players, man.
They're playing chess, not checkers.
Exactly.
Everyone else is out here. We got to get the best kids from Texas and California and Florida. Nah, give me that kid from Omaha.
Just give me the ballers.
The heart of America.
Just give me the ballers. I don't care where they're from.
That's right. That's absolutely right. So that's a little bit of recruiting news, a little bit of what's going on with the Elite 11. We do have a little bit of an update on the college football playoff, but we can save that for later. We're going to be with y'all for a little bit this morning, so we'll dive into that a little bit later on here in the morning. But just wanted to share some, I'm ready to actually talk about the performances on the field more so than all of the other things going on in the background and the debates and the negotiations and, oh, this conference doesn't like this. Oh, yeah, none of them like each other, right? They all are looking out for their own best interest. We all know what it is. Can we just play some dang football and let it play it out on the field and see what happens? I'm so ready for that. So a little bit of that information for you there. But if you haven't been listening or you're just now getting to tune into the show for the first time this week, we have started doing a new little exercise here for the last few days where we go through, we pick out the make or break game for different teams around the SEC. So this is just looking at their schedule. What game can be the most impactful for their ultimate goals of the season, whether that's getting to a college football playoff, getting to Atlanta to compete for an SEC championship. It's not going to be the game that maybe is going to have, the best helmet matchup or, which game do we think game day is most likely to go and be at? It's what game, when you consider what a loss would mean, what a win would mean, how that would change each team's season. We try to go through and break those down for you. So we'll do that next. Make or break games for more teams in the SEC. How about the Tennessee Volunteers? Damien's old flame. That's next on Morning Jox. 6:33. Welcome in, Morning Jocks. Conrad and Damian here with you. Maybe the Tennessee Volunteers will go to the Pink Pony Club after they find themselves back in the college football playoff, right, Damian? Because that's the expectation for the upcoming season. What?
Yeah.
Isn't that a place you would want to go after you win?
Yes, absolutely. But expectations for, you said college football playoff?
Well, they were in it last year.
They were.
So the expectation would be that you would be back in it this year, right?
Dylan Sampson's not on the field anymore. James Pierce is not on the field for Tennessee anymore. Hell, you can even throw Nico in there. He's not on the field anymore. I think and again, they're in my top 10, but after talking to some Tennessee fans for the past couple months, I don't think their expectation is to be back this year. Now, I do think the future could be, but nah, I'm not really feeling the whole college football playoff vibe right now.
Okay.
I think they'll be good, but crazier things.
Maybe an 8-4 kind of good.
Right. Very reasonably good.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's look at the make or break game for Tennessee. So I'm very interested in your thoughts on this, Damian, because this one was tricky, and I think there's certainly multiple games that you could make a strong argument for, but ultimately, and it's because of where it is kind of in the season and what I'm expecting. A lot of it's coming from what I'm expecting from Tennessee before they get to this game and how I think their season will have gone. So I'm going to go with Tennessee at home against Oklahoma in week 10 of the upcoming season. And so so part of my rationale for that, so up to this point in the season, all right, your schedule is okay. I do think the opening game against Syracuse will potentially be interesting. I think Tennessee should be able to win that game, but I do think it could be an interesting game. But you have Eastern Tennessee after that, no problem. UAB, Mississippi State, Arkansas, Kentucky. Those are all teams on your schedule before that. I feel pretty good about Tennessee winning all of those games. Now, you do also have Georgia at home and Alabama in Tuscaloosa added in there. I think those are losses right now. Granted, doesn't mean they're going to, but at least on paper right now, I'm going to chalk those up as losses. So that would mean that we would be looking at a 6-2 Tennessee team hosting Oklahoma in week 10 with an opportunity to still make the college football playoff with a win over Oklahoma, a win at Florida, New Mexico State, and Vanderbilt. And so I think that's kind of where this game is for me in the sense of, now, if you did manage to pull off and beat either Alabama or Georgia, I don't think you're going to beat both of them. But let's say you beat one of them, right? You split. That makes this game really, really interesting because, we could be talking about an 8-1 Oklahoma team, or Tennessee team, going into the final month of the season. And at that point, it would be, unless you lose to both Florida and Vanderbilt, you're back in the college football playoff. Now, I don't think they're going to only have one loss, but I do think if you can get to this Oklahoma game with only 2 losses, this could be a big-time matchup because you don't know. Maybe Oklahoma, if they're having the kind of season we think they could, maybe this is a top 15 type of matchup that kind of catapults one team up into the playoff conversation, the top 12, and the other one kind of lags behind now that they have 3 losses here. Granted, it could also be an ugly situation where you lose to Syracuse the opening week, you lose to Georgia, you lose to Alabama, maybe you even lose to Arkansas again, and now you find yourself against an Oklahoma team where you're like, man, we just need to win this game so we can get to 7 wins this season. So that's why I'm going with Oklahoma. I think that game in week 10, just where it fits into the schedule, I will be very interested to see kind of where Tennessee is at going into the Oklahoma game at that point in the year.
My gut told me Arkansas just because of what happened last year. But you brought up something very important with the Oklahoma matchup. It's, okay, where is Tennessee at this point? And again, it's a lot of unknowns for Tennessee going into 2025 because now you don't have Nico. Dylan Sampson, like I said, a lot of those guys are gone. It's a lot of players we've never heard before that are going to have to step up. And I don't know if they have it yet.
Yeah.
You don't know.
We don't know if Tennessee is in the, Alabama, Georgia, you're just going to reload every year.
Right.
Yeah.
And, I love Josh Heupel. I love the system. I love everything about it. But it's hard for me. And, again, I know what Joey Aguilar has done at App State. I hadn't seen him in an SEC uniform. I hadn't seen him go against an SEC schedule. And when you brought up the Oklahoma game, it's almost like that fork in the road of are we great or are we just pretty good? And I think that game is kind of the barometer of, okay, yeah, this Oklahoma team, they're not, because last year that was the first game where you started to question, okay, is this team unraveling? Because Jackson Arnold was shaky. They put in Michael Hawkins Jr., but it was too late. And Tennessee was kind of the beneficiary of, y'all still got some stuff to figure out. We'll take this win.
I was about to say, we thought the win at the time was more impressive than it actually ended up being in reality.
Right. Yeah. And now when you get them the first day of November, it's not, what did Brian Kelly say? November is for contenders.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, that sets the stage of what the rest of the season is going to look like. Now, you hadn't beaten Florida in almost 20 years down in the swamp.
Yep.
So you need as much momentum as you possibly can as you finish things out. Now, I mean, you get Vanderbilt at home, but Diego Pavia tells you they're going to run the state. But I still lean that Tennessee would handle their business at home. But that Oklahoma game can almost kind of on our exercise, make or break if you are going back to the college football playoff or you're going to be on the outside looking in.
Yeah, and I think, the Florida game, you bring up a good point with that one. But the reason I didn't pick the Florida game was just because of where it is in the season. And at that point, I mean, who knows? Certainly, right, if you're a 2-loss or 1-loss Tennessee team in that game, it's a massive game, right? But I think we also, there's this fairly clear path to how Tennessee would maybe already be eliminated from the playoff by the time that game came around. Now, maybe that's not the case, but yeah, that's going to be very, very interesting because they do play Florida. So Florida's the second to last game, then Vanderbilt's the last one, but they get Oklahoma in Week 10. So I think there's a few good options for them. I think some people would go, it is the Alabama game partially because while that rivalry has kind of been renewed and we've obviously seen Tennessee win 2 of the last 3, they haven't done it in Bryant-Denny yet, right? So that's kind of the next step, I think, in a lot of people's minds of, all right, now we have to go and beat them on the road.
Mm-hmm. I do have a question, though.
Yeah.
You say that, you lean the opposite team with Tennessee versus Alabama versus Georgia. If they were to get one, which team do you think they would get?
I mean, I guess I would just. I mean, if I'm being honest, I guess I would go Alabama because they've shown that. Georgia game has been tough for them.
It has.
It has been tough for them, and I think the only thing that would make me lean Georgia in that conversation is the fact that you get them at home, whereas for Alabama you have to go on the road. But if we're talking neutral site, I guess who do I think they would have a better chance of beating this year? I think it's Alabama probably.
Yeah,
because you already have the confidence that hey, we can beat these guys.
Yeah, but that Arkansas game, man, it's
at home though this year. That helps,
right? And it just
you got to win that one.
And because I think it's because I have I have a little more optimism when it comes to Arkansas because
well, you like Taylor Green, you're very high on him, yeah.
And if they're figuring it out, if they're rolling, man, I saw it last year. I don't know how they did it. I still can't wrap my mind of how they did it, but it can be done.
Mm-hmm.
Where when I look at their win against Alabama last year, them being at home does help. But when you really look at the game, there were some inconsistencies from Jalen Milroe in the offense that Tennessee capitalized on. No, not making any excuses, but it didn't feel like the 2022 win where you looked and was like, yeah, ain't nobody stopping that offense.
No, a lot of last year was just Alabama beat themselves in a lot of ways,
right,
in that game, yeah.
And then they had Georgia, but it kind of felt like they were more surprised that they were in it instead. They were playing not to lose at certain points.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if this team is going to be good enough to play like that anymore. Like, you have to just come out guns a-blazing.
That's a good point, yeah. No,
you got to come out guns a-blazing. And when you have leads on certain teams, it's very similar to Auburn where they would have leads and it was just, why are we getting so...
It's like you got to play like you've been there before. You almost forget,
right?
That we can win these games.
Like Tennessee, Georgia felt like Auburn, Missouri last year where, okay, you're up double digits, but it still doesn't feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like there's something's going to happen, and it's, oh, here we go again. And it's very similar to how Georgia has... it's very similar to how Alabama has Georgia, where psychologically it's, how can you have the better team going into it and still find a way to lose?
Yeah.
And, we've seen it with Alabama and Georgia where it's like, man, you got them one time, but every other time that I've seen it, it's dang, y'all really just cannot beat these dudes. Like y'all just can't. You handle your business with everybody else, but it's that mountain that you have on the other side. And Tennessee is almost they're not in the gutter anymore, but they're also not at the big house. They're just kind of like they're there, but it's almost like let's just take a peek. You get a look around and then come back out. Like go back out with the homies.
It's almost yeah, and I would compare. I'm not like comparing the programs, but the situation reminds me a lot of almost like Penn State in the Big Ten, where it's like we know they're good, right? But can you beat Ohio State? Okay, well, come talk to me when you beat Ohio State, right?
Right.
It's like that kind of a conversation. I feel like. So, who's your make or break game for Tennessee? Is it Oklahoma? Do you agree with my prediction there and Damien's insight as well? Do you think it's the Alabama game? I know some of you are going to say Florida probably. So we'd love to hear from you. 205-834-9450 on the courtesy GMC text line, and we will hear from you next on Morning Jox.
6:49 here on Morning Jox. Damian Mitchell, Conrad Van Order, here with you for a few more moments. Actually, we're going to be with you for 3 more hours because we also will be filling in for McElroy and Kublik in the morning. So you don't want to miss that. And you don't want to miss your chance to own that dream home at the lake this Saturday, June 21st. That's tomorrow at the grand opening at the Cottages at Smith Lake, located on one of America's most pristine lakes. The Cottages at Smith Lake is the area's first and only tiny home community. Only 50 acres of woodlands on the peaceful, quiet west side of Smith Lake, surrounded by the Bankhead National Forest. Over 120 home sites to choose from, each with beautiful lake views and your own choice of a custom cottage up to 6 unique models. The Cottages at Smith is a beautifully planned community with amenities like gated access, boat ramp, community dock, saltwater swimming pool, lakefront picnic area, walking trails, and more. And it's all walkable and golf cart friendly. Don't miss your chance for your perfect lake cottage around Don't miss your chance for your perfect lake cottage at the grand opening tomorrow, presented by Joseph Carter Realty. Come out and enjoy catered food, live music, and golf cart tours of home sites. That's opening day tomorrow, June 21st at the Cottages at Smith Lake. Reserve your spot now, or for more info, call 256-747-7459. That's 256-747-7459, or visit their website at thecottagesatsmith.com.
Well, as Damian said, we do have 3 more hours ahead of us, filling in for McElroy and Kublik in the morning. Greg and Cole taking a bit of an extended weekend, so we appreciate them letting us fill in for them. And we've been talking about make or break games in the SEC. So coming up over the next 3 hours, we may have some more to sprinkle in there for you. Last night I was just, perusing around and said, let's take a look at some of these schedules. So we may have Ole Miss, South Carolina, Oklahoma, and Texas A&M that we can dive into coming up over the next 3 hours. We do have some college football playoff, some updates on those conversations that we can dive into as well. And, of course, we always enjoy your interaction on the phone lines as well as the text lines. 205-834-9450 will get you on the courtesy GMC text line. You text it, we will read it. Unless it's really, really dirty, and then we won't read it on the air, but we will read it and laugh internally. But as I mentioned, the make or break games, we did just talk about Tennessee. So I said Oklahoma, I thought for Tennessee was going to be the make or break game for them because of where it falls in the season for them. So it's a Week 10 matchup. You will have already played Alabama and Georgia. You've still got Florida on the other side of it. Is that a game that if you lose, you look back on and go, man, maybe that was the difference in us going back to the playoff in another year or being 9-3 versus 8-4. So I want to get some of your thoughts on that game as well. And Drake, our resident Florida fan, of course, he says, Conrad, Tennessee is not winning in the Swamp this year. Not happening.
It hadn't happened in a long time.
It has not. And Florida's this is at least going to be the best Florida team since 2020, I think. That 2020 team was pretty good with Kyle Trask. Yeah. I mean, they gave Alabama a run for their money in Atlanta.
They did, and I agree with you. This is probably the best. This is probably the best team with realistic.
Certainly on paper.
Yeah, with realistic expectations, where it's not like last year. Like they caught a lot of teams by surprise because everybody looked at their schedule like, man, if Billy can find a way to get 5, he'll be okay. But then they go out there and they beat up on teams. I think the style of Florida is what's so different. Like, we're so used to them just being high offense, like it's 50 points a game, essentially, that now Florida's turned into – we can turn this into a fist fight if you want to, and they can have success with it. But I do think DJ Lagway, what he showed us last year, if he can hone into that again and have, like, that next jump, yeah, Florida could be something serious.
Will this be the worst that Tennessee's been since Heupel's first year? Because you went to the playoff last year, you won 9 games with Joe Milton the year before, and then you won 11 with Hendon Hooker.
Yeah, it'll be I think they're back to 8-4, 7-5.
Okay, do you think? Well, okay, let me ask you like this: do you think the maybe the best case scenario for Tennessee this year would be similar to the Joe Milton year?
Yes.
In terms of what the team was?
Yes.
Okay.
Because if you really watch that 2023 season, it's, man, if Joe Milton could have hit a hitch route every now and then, they look completely different. because it wasn't the arm talent that they were. It was just the accuracy.
And I understand, coming off a playoff, going 9-4, like the fan base probably isn't going to be super pumped about that. But I think, given the circumstance, like, he might be getting some Coach of the Year votes, or at least from me. Like,
right?
That's
you realize,
impressive.
like, you're not back at the dweller. Like, you're not in the basement anymore. It's okay if this is our quote unquote good year or down year, and it's 8 wins. All right, cool. Like we're back. We're somewhat back. But it's gonna be interesting to see.
It certainly is. Let's see. We have Alan who chimes in. He says, could Damian be setting up his fan announcement for the kickoff party at the Barons? If so, count me in. Even if I have to buy a ticket, I'll be there. Man, we'll sell out protective. Yeah, we'll put you out there. No, well, you can get on stage with Matt Rife. You can be the opener for Matt Rife, and that can be your deal. You'll, announce your fandom up there, and you'll surprise everyone when you pick Ohio State because he's an Ohio State fan. Don chimes in. He says, good morning, guys. To me, the game is the Florida Gators for Tennessee. Chomp, chomp. You've been hanging out with PG too much. And Don in Oxford, he says, Conrad, you and Damian rule the morning air when y'all are on. When are you getting a 4-hour show? Your stats and opinions are on point, and I wanted to thank y'all for making my morning better each and every day. Keep up the good work. Well, Don, you're in luck because we have 3 more hours left to go. McElroy and Kublik in the morning is next.